Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. In this video, we're going to be trying to predict the All Blacks lineup in their upcoming match up against South Africa, but it is myself, it is Rugbyitch. Now, you did win the first week for your predictions, mate. Are you feeling confident that you can follow it up with another one here?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. Hopefully the All Blacks can choose a similar squad to what I've done, but you never know. They could put a few surprises in there. We'll have to wait and see.
I hope they do, because I've got a few surprises in my lineup. I've kind of gone all or nothing here, I guess you could say. I'm 1-0 down. This is the riskiest lineup I have gone with.
Okay.
But we're going to have to wait and see whether or not it does pay off. This man's gone rogue, hasn't he? He might not have a job next week.
Indeed.
Depending on how this match goes.
Yeah, he's in such a weird predicament at the moment because New Zealand rugby have to really decide if... I think what most likely will happen is that he might resign. That's what I think. But after the South African thing. But and then someone obviously will take over for the Argentinian games and Australia games and that. But I think we all have to remember, though, that when that comes around, you have to understand that those aren't, in my opinion, as difficult fixtures. So people might be like, yes, we're back on the train here of wins, but it's really when New Zealand get back into the Autumn Nations, that's when the real tests begin, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens.
Of course, that big match coming up against England later on the year.
Indeed.
Going to be a big tester. But now I'm looking forward to seeing who you've got in your front row. You were mentioning you were thinking about making a couple of changes here. Who is the front row that take on South Africa for match 2?
Well, yes, like you said, I was deciding to either stick with George Bauer or maybe take him out. But I have stuck with him, and it's a bold call, but I've only done it just because I believe that's what Ian Foster will go with. But yeah, for number 2, I've gone with Summer Tukalao. I believe he actually did pretty well in that game. He was one of the few All Blacks who actually made an impact, in my opinion, in terms of his defense. And his lineouts actually were pretty good on the day, so there wasn't actually really no problems on that front. But really, for the number 3, that's where I've made my first change because, of course, we had Angus Tavo being the one that you started last week, but I'm actually going with Tyrell Lomax to start this week. So I feel like that's maybe the one change to make to that front row.
And interestingly enough, South Africa are actually making 2 changes in their front row. Number 1, Oxnard moves in there, and then number 2, they have gone back to Bongi Ombanambi. For myself, I have got 2 changes in my All Blacks front row. Number 1, I've given it to Ethan de Groot, adding him in there, a little bit more pressure on Frans Malaharba in the early stages of the contest. And the big thing for me with de Groot is, other than the fact that every time he got the ball when he made his way out onto the park, he was getting his legs chopped down like he was some sort of tree. But if he doesn't have that happen to him, he's going to be effective with that running game and a brute strength for the Southlander. So that is why he has made his way in to my lineup. Number 2, I've gone with Dane Cole, adding a little bit more experience into that starting lineup. He did come off the bench for the last game, but I've decided why not get him out there, add a little bit more, I guess you could say, mongrel into the starting lineup for the All Blacks, make it scrappy, because I think when it comes down to the structure of the game, the All Blacks need to find a way of trying to disrupt the way that South Africa play. And then number 3, I've stuck with him, Angus Tavo, up against a new opposition this week in Oxnard. So I think he will have a little bit more of a decent crack. But now moving on to the locks, unchanged from last week for myself, I've gone Sam Whitelock number 4, whereas normally I would have thought he would be number 5 rather than Scott Barrett. But I've gone Sam Whitelock number 4 and then Scott Barrett as my number 5.
Like that. Well, I have actually made one change in this position. I have gone with Sam Whitelock, as you said, at number 4, but I've actually gone with Patrick Tuipulotu at number 5. I just believe that Tuipulotu can bring something different towards Scott Barrett. And we've seen too many, I think we've kind of tested Scott Barrett too many times under this Ian Foster system. So I believe maybe a change in that system, in that area could work. So I've gone with Patrick to start at the number 5 position.
Alrighty, so now we move on to loose forward trio. Any changes for yourself in these 3 positions?
I have made one change. Well, I mean, actually, technically 2 changes. I have actually gone with Shana Brazil at number 6. I felt like he actually did pretty well, within the game. Obviously got the only try for New Zealand. So I feel like he can maybe do something within this game. So I've gone with number 6. For number 7, I have to stick with Sam Kane in there, of course, the captain. So we're going to make too many, change there. But with the number 8, though, I mean, I wanted to take Artisvia out just for some reason and shift him to the number 7 position, and then maybe add Hoskinson Tutu, because that's what I was kind of deciding to do. but I've kind of changed my mind. I will probably stick with Sevilla there. So I've gone with Sevilla at number 8.
Now moving on to my loose forward trio. Like I mentioned, I've thrown caution to the wind here. Number 6, Akira Ioane. That is not the cautious one, though. Number 7, my new captain, Adi Savia. He is going to be there at open side flanker for me. I watched the replay of that game. Sam Kane, he's just a little bit not quite as quick as he used to be. And I hate to admit that, but looking at those breakdowns, they need someone who's going to clean it out. Him and Adi Savia actually running the same lines as well for their All Blacks attack. So it just seemed like they were both trying to play the 7 role. So I thought, why not give it to Adi Savia, give the captain just a little bit of relief from the stress of being in charge of the All Blacks out there on the field. And then number 8, I have gone Hoskins Tutu. Added him in for his first crack for the All Blacks in this Rugby Championship. But now we move on to the 9 and 10. Number 9, I've gone Finlay Christie. I've taken Aaron Smith out of there. I feel like with the fact that Faf de Klerk is no longer in there for the Springboks, it does mean you can have a little bit of variation, have a couple of those younger guys get their chance. And that's why I decided to go with Finlay Christie. Also, as soon as he made his way out onto the field, just seemed like the All Blacks, their tempo increased.
Exactly. It picked up. It really picked up when he came on.
So that's why I've gone with him at number 9. And then number 10, I've got another change. It is Richie Malonga as my starting fly half. I'm a little bit worried about Bowden's neck. For now, I decided why not have Richie Malonga get the start at 10 and at least give him a crack up against the Springboks, seeing as he does only get like 20 minutes at the end of the game. And most of the time, it's actually out of position as well, depending on who is still out there on the field.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, funny enough, you've actually made the same 2 changes I've actually made in this position as well. So I've also gone with Finlay Christie for the exact reason that you said. He really picked up the tempo as soon as he came on. And like you said, kind of putting a bit of caution under Bowden Barrett and what happened with him. So, I've gone with Richie Malonga to start at 10. So hopefully he can kind of make an impact within this game. I want him to, a lot of people, I'm not probably in that bandwagon where, he's probably as regarded in terms of the best 10 in New Zealand. But if he can put a performance here, if he starts, I'm really looking forward to see, what they maybe do afterwards. If they keep him on or if they, go back to Bowden Barrett. So we'll have to wait and see.
Righty. So now we move on to the centres. Any changes for yourself from last week? Last week, Havili and Rieko Ioane. Who have you got this week?
I have made a change here. I do believe, yes, David Havili has a lot of experience under his belt, but I feel like you need something different to go against probably arguably the best centre combination in rugby. So I've gone back to Quinn Tupaea at number 12, and I've gone with Rieko at number 13. So I've gone with the combination which I believe is the All Blacks' best, but you never know. They may just go with David Havili in terms of experience. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Okay, so for me, very similar. I have actually gone with Quinn Tupaea as my number 12. He did get a little bit of an opportunity off the bench. I'm wondering whether or not, though, Foster might consider throwing an absolute curveball and chucking Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
That's what I was thinking.
Because that's the thing. The Springboks have never come up against him. So maybe that would be something to throw them off their tracks a little bit. But for me, Quinn Tupaea, I've put him at number 12. Number 13, here's one for you. Leicester Nuku.
Wow.
Does slot in as my outside centre.
Okay.
Now, the reason being, this is going to sound slightly ironic because Leicester Nuku has been playing at the left wing, but I prefer Rieko Ioane as a winger than a centre at the moment at international level. Huge call.
That's a bold call to say. Yeah, that's bold.
Like, he just hasn't really had those opportunities at outside centre the way we used to see him just absolutely tear it up out there on the field. And I feel like if he was out on the wing, maybe gets a little bit more of an opportunity, or as a super sub coming off the bench in the second half and adding that extra speed. I like the size of Nuku. I like the way that he runs the ball hard, which is why I think him and Quinn Tupaea could just be a beast of a combination in the midfield. They won't go with it. I thought, why not chuck it out there? Just to get it in people's minds.
Exactly. See if it happens or not.
Exactly. Right. So now we move on to the back 3. Now, we did find out that Will Jordan's got a bit of a stomach bug as we're filming this video. So the question is he even going to be 100% to make his way out there for the ABs in the weekend? Also, Jordie Barrett, ankle injury. We don't quite know the extent of whether or not he is going to be missing. But for me, number 11, I've gone Caleb Clark. Now, for me, in his battle up against Arinsa, he just didn't quite seem to be able to get round
No.
the 80 kg winger. He seems
Yeah.
to be getting dominated a little bit. So for me, I think now this week that it's Jesse Creel. I think he might have a little bit more of a chance and try and free it up. He did also help set up that try that Shannon Frizzell scored in the later stages of the game. Number
Great
14.
Run. Great run.
It was brilliant. It was a very good run, just as good almost as that Will Jordan one right up the middle when Jesper Visa was able to ankle tap him.
Ankle tap, yep.
But now number 14, I've gone Sever Reese, brought him back into the lineup.
Oh, like that.
Going to be my right winger. And then number 15, I've gone Will Jordan.
Ooh, okay, so you stuck with Will Jordan at 15. That's interesting. So you believe that his stomach bug won't get the better of him, really?
The thing is, if it's anything like the way he plays rugby, he'll get over it in a day or two.
Exactly.
He'll be at Thursday's training, and then he'll get selected for the ABs because this was the chance. Geordie Barrett now out with the injury, possibly. The one time that Will Jordan would have been able to be the 15, you would think, is the time that he's got himself the stomach bug. So I'm hoping that the stomach heals quicker than the ankle, and he does get the opportunity to go out there and show everyone what he can do at 15.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, similar to you, I have also stuck with Kevin Clark. I believe he actually played pretty well when he had the ball, but again, he didn't have much of the ball in the game, so he wasn't really able to do too much. And then, yeah, like you said, obviously before, that run that he had was just his pace is just so. But then when Williamson got him, I was like, oh my gosh! I was like, this is insane. But yeah, that was probably the one one moment really for the All Blacks where they actually looked pretty exciting. But yeah, other than that, for the number 14 jersey though, I have actually made a similar choice to you, and I've actually gone with Sever Reese as well. I thought that he should have been included actually in the squad for last week. I don't believe he was actually off the bet. He wasn't even included in the 23, right?
No,
I'm not mistaken.
Instead they went to Pyre.
Yeah, see, I think I understand why they went to Zapaya, but I feel like you need someone like Sever Reese because I always say this within Super Rugby, but he's, in terms of a winger, he's probably the best winger in terms of turning over a ball, and they needed that against the Springboks. So I believe he's someone who can maybe kind of influence that within the game. And yeah, for the number 15, I've gone exactly the same as you. I've gone with Will Jordan, and I wanted actually to maybe put Bowden Barrett here. I was considering maybe to put him there, but I just, again, it's too risky with his concussion, and I actually would have done it, by the way. If he didn't have that concussion, I might have actually considered it, but yeah, I have gone with Will Jordan here. It's something that I've gone for a lot of these videos recently because I wanted it to happen so badly. But yeah, hopefully it does. Hopefully it does.
Because that's the other thing. Will Jordan in that last game, I think, was a little bit wasted on the right wing. Like he touched the ball twice. It's just not enough for a player of his caliber. Which is where Sever Reese on the right wing could be quite handy because he does go searching for it a bit more.
Exactly.
Rather than playing that kind of structure that Will Jordan has of keeping that positioning rather than drifting inwards. But now looking through at the benches, we will start with 16, 17, and 18. Who are your replacement front row?
Yeah, of course, for this number 16, I've gone with Cody Taylor. So he's like my replacement hooker for this game. For number 17, like you chose him to start, but I've gone with Ethan de Groot to come off the bench. Again, it was really 50-50 for me. I'll be more than happy if he starts, by the way, guys. I'll be more than happy because I do believe he deserves an opportunity to go against the Springboks because, in my opinion, I still regard them as the best team in terms of the forward pack in the world. So I believe it'll be a really good, kind of indication really to see what Ethan de Groot can do against, who would it be against? It would be against Mal Herber, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So yeah, I want to see that kind of battle if that does happen. But yeah, of course, for the last position, I have gone with the likes of Angus Tavo to come off the bench, and that's really just a straight swap from Tyrell Lomax, who I put in the start.
Okay, so I have got number 16, Samasoni Takiaho. Still don't have a Cody Taylor out there for myself as of yet. Number 17, I've got Aidan Ross. So no George Bauer this week for myself. Yes, he makes a lot of tackles, but I'm throwing in someone who's a little bit more known for his scrummaging. Because at the end of the day, the Springboks, if they get the All Blacks going backwards in the scrum like they did in that first test, it's going to be penalty after penalty against the ABs, and they cannot afford to do that. Definitely not at Ellis Park. You've got that extra altitude. Andre Pollard, 100% kicking. You cannot afford to give that man an opportunity off the tee. And then number 18, we said he was almost destined for a debut last week. I'm giving him one this week.
Wow, okay.
Is Fletcher Null.
That's a bold call. I would love it, by the way, if that happens, because I think last week when we picked him, we actually just completely forgot about Angus Tavo. We're just like, yeah, no, his suspension, he must be disregarded. But yeah, hopefully Fletcher Newell is elected, so that'll be good to see.
So now we move on to the rest of the replacement forwards. Number 19, gone with the same as what they had last week, Tupava as my replacement lock. And I've seen that bomb squad bench that they've got for themselves. Franco Mostert, Huaka Smith, and Jasper Visa. Boy, there's some strong loose forwards taking place for South Africa. A lot of those guys who love a good turnover. Jasper Visa especially. So for that reason, I've gone with someone other than Sam Kane. Instead, it's Dalton Papali'i as my number 20 to try and really, I just love the way that the man plays. He hypes the team up. He just manages to keep them going. And I think that's so important. We saw last week during one of those drinks break, it just seemed like the whole team weren't connected. There was something missing. Artie Savia, he was somewhere. Whitelock was over there. And Sam Kane was just talking to Cody Taylor, who was running the drinks. It didn't seem like there was any huddle or anything like that for the ABs. And the last thing that they want is to not be playing like a team in the second test match. At the end of the day, coach's job's on the line. But it's that big question of, do they want him to still have it? And I think that's kind of the deeper question underneath this, man. I might have to get a new stick. Or not the stick. I guess I could just replace the face, couldn't I? Save a bit of timber. I got zombie Stuart Hogg on this side, but Halloween was last year. So we'll just give that a biff over there for now, just like the All Blacks might do. But now looking through at your replacement forwards, who have you got, mate?
Yeah, so I have actually made, I believe, 2 changes. No, actually, no, one of them is the exact same. But for the number 19 position, I actually have gone with Scott Barrett here to come off the bench. Really, it's a 50-50 between Tupo Valai, but because I didn't choose Barrett to start, I've gone with him off the bench. And like you, for the number 20 position, I have gone with Dalton Papali'i. He is, in my opinion, the future captain for the All Blacks. I mean, maybe a lot of people may disagree with that, but his performances really for the Blues, and he captains the Blues, of course, and he's just been sensational really for them. And I've seen a lot of like podcasts really just talking about his leadership and all of that, his leadership skills. And I believe he can kind of transition that into the All Black setup for the future. So I believe he's definitely one to watch. I'd say in terms of that, who's going to get it for the next time, because they actually may not give it to. I mean, this might be a bold call to say, but they may not actually give it to Artie Savia. They may just go younger and give it to Dalton Papali'i. So it'll be an interesting decision, obviously, when the new coach comes in, if he does. But we'll see what happens there.
I hope he does, because it'll just throw him a stick over there, so I'd have to go get it.
I really hope it does. Well, yeah, we'll just.
We will have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, it's just been very frustrating, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Because the scary thing with Dalton Papali'i as well, the man's only 24.
Exactly. He has so much time on his side. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly right. He could be there in 2 World Cups times if he is lucky. But now the back replacements. Who have you got? 21, 22, and 23.
So, yeah, for the number 21 position, I have gone with the likes of Aaron Smith. Just brings a lot of experience off the bench, and I feel he's a good player to kind of go from there. For number 22, though, I have actually gone with the likes of, Stephen Parifeta. I like it. Gone with Bowden Barrett. And that's really only because of, the concussions. So I'm just really kind of being on the safe side with that one. But we haven't actually seen Stephen Parifeta being included within the All Blacks kind of selection, if I'm not mistaken. He actually am I wrong with that?
He hasn't had his debut yet, sadly.
Yeah, no. So I think this is probably a good opportunity to see him if it does happen. So for the number 23 position, I have actually gone with the likes of David Avili here. It's just someone who I believe can bring a lot of experience off the bench. I wanted actually to go with RTS here just because, like you said beforehand, he could bring something different towards the side, which the Springboks might not have seen before. But I went on the safe side of this one and gone with David Avili.
Okay, so for me, 3 changes compared to yourself. I do like Stephen Pirifeta as an option, though. Definitely if they don't have Geordie Barrett. Just adds that little bit of an extra goal-kicking kind of option, which is probably something I am lacking. Because if Richie Malonga ends up getting injured, I mean, Will Jordan can kick, but he doesn't have to do it very often, you'd have to say.
Exactly.
Compared to, I guess, someone like a Havili, which might not have been a terrible option for me to also have. But instead, I have got number 21, Folau Fakatava. No Aaron Smith this week for myself. I like the idea of getting those youngsters out there. You know, just throwing something a little bit different. Aaron Smith lately has been looking like they've been able to shut him down quite well, and that's not his fault completely. You'd have to say that also the 4-pack not quite getting where they need to has put a lot of pressure on him, which does make it very tricky for an experienced halfback like himself. Number 22, I did go Bowden Barrett. If he isn't concussed and his neck's all right, he's going to be somewhere in there for the ABs, whether that is 10, 15, or off the bench. I think he has got himself a spot in that lineup if he is match fit.
Exactly.
And then number 23, someone who I missed out in the starting lineup. You'll know him as one of your guys. But number 23 for myself, I have gone Rieko Ioane.
Of course.
There you go.
You didn't include. Actually, I completely forgot that. You didn't include him in the centers. Wow. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I decided to have him come off the bench. That is either going to be out on the wing, in the centres, wherever it is. But that extra little bit of pace at the end of the game could be very handy for the All Blacks. Definitely with the fact that South Africa, yes, they've got those forward replacements in the 6-2 split. But if there's an early injury like we saw last week to Faf de Klerk, then all of a sudden, if Willie LaRue has to go out there early, they've got no back replacements, which means Rieko Ioane, if he finds a gap, that man could be gone. So that is why I've gone with that. I have a feeling that I could get an all-time low for the scoring system this week because I've gone with so many risky changes.
Or the opposite. You never know.
Maybe. But nonetheless, I guess do let us know who you guys would have in your starting lineups and reserves for this upcoming massive test match between the All Blacks and South Africa. But thank you very much once again, mate, for coming on the channel. Hope you did have fun. I'll have to go and apologise to Ian Foster on a stick. He did get javelined straight over there. The Commonwealth Games are over, aren't they? No more javelin throws.
Nope, no more javelin throws indeed.
I tried javelin once at school. Almost knocked myself unconscious. Unfortunately, you got to remember not to throw it and doing yourself on the back of the head when you let it go. It made quite the ringing noise. But
I did long jump actually when I was younger as well, and I actually went too far that I didn't actually hit the sand. I hit like the clay. The clay out of it because I was actually pretty good at long jump. I loved it, by the way, your kicking video.
Thank you.
Oh, you're fantastic, by the way. I think the All Blacks should just call you up, by the way. I think they should call you up. I think that's what guys, can we put in the comments right now that Hamish has to be called up for the All Black squad? If you haven't seen his kicking, guys, go back. It was very impressive. Which
kick did you watch, by the way? Was it like was it the first one, the second one, or the one that actually went close and went over?
Like it was, you just kept getting better as it went. So I think that's what we need. That's what the All Blacks need, you know.
Improvement. Hopefully we do see it for this weekend up against the Springboks. But nonetheless, if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all for the next one.